two dope dudes, bringing you the news, leading you to much success with all their insightful views. Do you grow yourself or buy from the top shelf? Are you here to take the reins and gain back your health? Whatever it is, you know the biz. Leave a light, crack a pipe, and let's get on with it. If you want to acquire the knowledge, you don't have to go to college. You can just come hang with Aaron and Dave.
Yo, welcome to the Elevated News Podcast with two dope dudes. We are your source for Midwest cannabis news, culture, and more. I'm Aaron.
I'm Dave.
We're the two dope dudes. What's going on, dude? How are you? Merry Christmas.
Yay! It's here.
It's here. Finally.
Yes. Dude, I'm a fan.
Yeah?
Well, of when it gets here and then goes, I'm fine. I'm not like the Grinch by any means, but like I would just rather celebrate every day with everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
I'm with
So
you there.
when we make it this big commercialized thing,
Sure.
don't get me wrong, I absolutely love doing the commercialized thing for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I go spoily sometimes, you know, but
You gotta.
yeah, I think you gotta. But no, that's about it. I'm pumped to spend some time with fam and kids and whatever.
And then
Yeah.
you taking a little vacation too, right?
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah. Dave's going to be gone for the New Year, so we're going to pre-record an episode for you guys.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
It's a good
gonna,
one though.
It's going to be obvious. It's going to be a pre-record because, you know, we won't have all the some of the normal stuff. So, but it's totally going to be fun. I'm psyched about it.
Yeah.
I'm
And
also psyched
then-
about this hash right here.
Yeah, well, touche. And then I think we're set up to do something with Cole right at the beginning of the year.
January 5th.
Yeah.
January 5th, I believe,
buddy.
is when we're doing it. I was on his live stream the other day, and he said something about it, and he couldn't remember the date either, so I had to look it up.
Yep. I'm ready.
Me as well. Doing stuff with Cole is always a good time. I like that, dude. You know.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
But hey, we're here, and it is Christmas time, so let's get into. I mean, everybody wants to talk about rescheduling news. We got some real, actually, just not opinion, but like some real evidence to put forward as to why we think what we think.
Yeah.
I think that's the right way of saying it.
Yeah. I like it.
But hell yeah, cool. Let's you wanna do the pluggy thing, and then we'll get into it, and we can get into YouTube comments.
Let's go. Oh yeah.
But first of all, you can find us, the Elevated News Podcast, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all your other favorite podcasts and streaming apps. Give us some follows over there. And then for our audio listeners, come see us on YouTube. Give us a like, leave a comment. We love you and we appreciate you. You can also follow us on Twitter at Two Dope Dudes, and supportdopepeople.com. We have some merch over there, and I think we are putting up a Peace, Love, and Cope shirt here very soon.
Yeah.
David.
Yeah, good segue too. What are you doing on Thursday night? Why don't y'all come hang out with me? 8 p.m. Central Time, just not Christmas Day. I have a decent amount of plans. I might actually go do the subscribing thing and then leave the little bell notification, and maybe we'll have a little smoke session on Christmas Day live. But
420 smoke session.
Yeah, that might, let me see how it all plays out. It might be an okay thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, thanks. Come hang out.
Yeah, absolutely. YouTube comments. All right. This was at rescheduling. This is about rescheduling. Happy to hear about Alabama. I'd wear a Peace, Love, and Cope t-shirt, Dave. Merry Christmas, guys. Better weather is around the corner. Get outside and play.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Mr. Rourke 420. I would buy a Peace, Love, and Cope shirt.
Wow.
Sean Whitney, our friend. Another great episode. Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, Sean, you're the man.
Sean, yeah, miss you, buddy. Daily Homegrown, our buddy out there in the Quad Cities. Rescheduling gifts it to the MSO/pharma/ALC players, leaving rec and home growers in the same spot or worse. Free the plant, deschedule completely. Toss some age restrictions on it and move TF on. That means the fuck. I ain't going to Walgreens for Marinol. The average retail price for brand name Marinol ranges from approximately $523 to over $1,400 for a quantity of 65-gram capsules. Do they let people produce other Schedule 3 items at home? F no, they don't. Don't be stupid. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah. Okay. When we talk about it, I will make sure to reference this too. But I'm pretty fully on board with all of that.
The Shadow 3001. I think it's going to be good for banks and big pharma, and home growing and the hemp industry no good. Yeah, I agree with that.
To a degree. They did mention the hemp industry in the thing, though, so it could be okay.
And this was before the rescheduling. This came out before rescheduling happened. So
okay,
right, like this was, last Wednesday. And when did you're right? So
and it's not even rescheduled yet. There's
and we'll get into that later today. We have a whole bunch of stuff. This was a comment that got left as soon as I put this, like before the episode premiered. So I don't know who this is, or if this is a real person or robots. I mean, it's YouTube. You never know. Or maybe they just have a funny username. The current momentum in cannabis reform, especially the move towards federal rescheduling, heralds an era of spectacular growth, specifically for pure medical cannabis stocks. This regulatory pivot instantly eliminates the punitive 280E tax for medical operators, translating into massive immediate jump into net income and operating profitability. Why couldn't I say profitability? Weird. The resulting infusion of capital will fuel accelerated research and development, allowing these companies to dominate the emerging pharmaceutical and advanced therapeutic cannabis markets. Furthermore, normalized banking access and mainstream investment will validate their business models, driving market cap expansion and leading to unparalleled value appreciation. This period marks the final, decisive transition from medical cannabis from a legally fraught operation into a highly profitable, normalized healthcare sector. Dave?
Do you want me to? I mean,
No. And then Daily Homegrown said you could achieve all of this by descheduling as well as eliminate all of the negatives Schedule 3 would bring. It's a no-brainer. This push is driven by greed, nothing more. And go ahead, Dave, because I don't. I read it. You get to respond.
Yeah, the only thing that I want to mention at all through this whole thing is that everybody keeps acting like moving this from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 has changed anybody's fucking perspective on it. Right. Cultivation centers, distributors of cannabis, state-driven legal operators within their state walls were doing this when it was Schedule 1, which is far worse to do than when it is Schedule 3.
Right.
So do you believe that
it's not even yet?
Oh, right. But do you believe that all of a sudden they're going to stop doing what they're doing and lay down to the government or whatever because they didn't, while it was far more criminalized? And I get it, man. People are like worked up by this thing. First, nothing's moved yet. And secondly, the by the time that it comes out, and I don't know enough about the 280E tax thing, but the banking situation needs to be fixed massively for the industry.
For sure.
And it's not going to get fixed by giving CBD or epidolics, essentially, whatever. But they said it could be hemp derived. So who knows what the framework looks like to begin with for what the shift is happening.
Heck yeah.
And yeah, but good stuff could come of it.
Yeah.
Really good.
And then in the live chat, we always have great live chat. Fucking solid group of homies. Solid group of homies that always show up. Minnesota Organics 87, Daily Homegrown, Chi-Town Hi-Fi. Let's see here. So let me move ahead here. There's Macho Grams, Gramsby Savage, Jeffrey Black, Curly Greenleaf, Cole Memo, Mr. Rourke, Peace, Love, and Cope. I know that guy.
Oh.
Dr. Danknugs, as always. Best Damn Grow Show, Monday nights. That's 6 p.m. Central Time.
Yes.
He's on Eastern Time. As always, go over there and see our buddy Corey, Dr. Danknugs. Brian Borowski, 7019.
Love that guy.
Yeah, that guy's cool.
That was good insight. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah. I said Jeffrey Black already. Oh, there we go. AFALAM-M8C. That is the same person who left that other comment.
Yeah.
So I guess they are a real person. I was just judging based on the username. My bad. No offense. It says, watch for new. Trump will sign cannabis rescheduling on Thursday after hours. It was like 12:30 Central Time Thursday, right?
I think so.
Yeah. And shout out to the homies that we got to have lunch with last Thursday.
Yeah, way to nail the day and the time there.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to say that. Lamb.
Yeah. There are multiple news on these from unverified sources. Santa relay may start late session today. Fucking right on. They were spot on with that. Anybody else? No, that's it. But yeah, solid group of homies. We appreciate you like more than you know. So thanks for showing up always. You want to get into some news? Hey,
always.
Here's some Illinois local news for us from our friends, Illinois News Joint. Love those guys. And this actually is attempting to address something that Cole was talking about the other day on one of his live streams with a lawyer, an attorney, who was updating on the transporter's license, suing the state, and then also there's a ongoing lawsuit in Illinois right now about a social equity dispensary opening, or a MSO opening like within 1,500 feet of an existing social equity dispensary. And so I think this is attempting to fix part of that as well. If you remember, there was some news last year on what company was it? I think GTI was trying to open up in the old Rainforest Cafe.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's like across the street, like from the
other. Yeah.
Right. So there was a big hullabaloo about that as well.
Yeah.
I never knew how cool Rainforest Cafe was. I used to date this girl in Chicago who worked at the Rainforest Cafe.
Oh,
I never went. Like, I guess I missed out, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. Oh, well.
Yeah, I went once when I was a kid. I thought it was okay.
I literally never went, but I guess like everybody really loved it. I probably should have gone more.
Yeah.
Anyway, IDFPR and the Illinois Department of Revenue proposed amendments to the Cannabis Regulation and Tax Act that address restrictions on dispensary locations and seizure hearing waivers. IDFPR proposed an amendment addressing a provision that requires new conditional dispensing organizations to be located 1,500 feet away from any existing dispensing organization unless a statutory exception applies. The rulemaking states that an existing dispensing organization means an organization that has issued an adult use license before the conditional licensee received its conditional license.
Dude, 1,500 feet is like 5 disc golf throws.
Who are you? If you're not if you're Anthony Barella or
That's like 2
Cole,
disc golf throws.
maybe if you're a noodle arm like Danny Beauchamp or something.
Yeah.
I only say that because Gannon sent him some discs once and told him they were for his noodle arm, and
Yeah,
I just
hell
thought
no,
that was the
that's
most
amazing.
hilarious thing because Danny can throw farther than both of us put
Yeah.
together
Yeah,
twice,
it's probably true.
and you can throw far.
I don't know about that.
I
5
mean,
times to get to the next
yeah,
dispensary.
but yeah, no, that's only like 4 or 5 throws for sure.
Yeah. That's it. It just seems like, yeah, what are we fighting for? Keep them.
I
Yeah,
mean,
got to keep them
are we
separated.
even do we do enough business that we need to stack them that close?
Well, bro, it's
Like,
funny that they come
honestly.
out and they're like, "Well, this is a limitation." Where how it takes 8.5 hours to drive from like the north to the south part of this state.
Right.
How many times over is 1,500 fucking feet of that? You know what I mean? You could put 1,000,000 dispensaries in this state.
Well, I mean, this is only going to affect this is only going to affect people in cities. This is not going to affect people out in the
This is only gonna affect smaller social equity players. Sorry, but that's the truth. Like if you
right,
are
because
the
MSOs
smaller
already
people,
have the big retail spots like taken, right? They
yeah,
have like
but
most
they're
of the prime ones.
dude. I heard the wildest shit in the entire world the other day.
Hmm.
There was a good friend of mine, inside source. So I can't name too much or
Sure,
say too much, but there is
anonymous
a
source.
yeah, not, yeah, there is a dispensary group that is going to own more than 10 dispensaries in Illinois
Wow.
openly. Same
Oh,
name. Put them with the same name on it. It's coming. And it was approved by the state. It's already legally happening. They're going to be able to get 20 of them dispensaries. And I don't know how or what, but I promise you, they already have announced their 11th store under their name.
question: do they have both medical and recreational licenses? So will this be? What I'm
I
asking: do
don't
they
know
have
if
two medical licenses and 8 recreational licenses, and are opening up another recreational store? That I can at
no, because
least.
they're going to 20. And I think that they came. I don't know if they purchased any medical licenses, but I am almost confident that they were not a name like this before the rec markets came about. I think it was rec markets that brought them into the state, and then but if they purchased a medical license before, I don't know. But confident, not like inside source, knows everything. I went in, looked through some shit, and found that he is accurate. At
Nice.
least that the 11th store is on its way with their name on it.
That's crazy. Well, um, as I have said for a long time, uh, cannabis is not legal in Illinois. We merely have a highly regulated tax structure for it.
Yeah.
The state will do whatever they want to collect more taxes for themselves
Yeah. I
because,
just,
yeah,
yeah. 100%. Like this is what I'm saying. Like 1,500 feet away
mhm,
doesn't seem like that big of a limitation. We're not really there to protect any of the integrity of this
no,
thing. They want to blow the roof off of it.
no,
It and
right,
that's my whole thing is like if you're gonna allow this to happen from like whoever
yeah,
the big players, allow smaller players to come in. Allow me to build a shop as a single operator solo store
mhm.
in between the 1,500-foot limitation that they put the other 2 stores. I'll let the monster and the
Hey,
smaller.
there's so many other states doing stuff that actually benefit the little guy that are so close to us, and I really hope that uh, I really hope that the people in Illinois kind of see these other states and what happens, and really get on their lawmakers to provide us a better system, because there's better systems out there than this very corporatist only very highly regulated structure. This is not good for this does not benefit any of us at all. It doesn't benefit the patient. It doesn't benefit the user. The only people it benefits are the people collecting taxes on it.
Yeah, or putting people in jail because of
Yes.
it, and like,
Go
yeah,
watch Cole's mini doc,
yeah,
colememo.com/mini doc.
yeah.
You know, it's about how we're still putting people in jail for cannabis in Illinois. IDOR, the Illinois Department of Revenue, proposed amendments to the Cannabis Purchaser Excise Tax. Clarify that in cases where the Department of Revenue has seized cannabis or tobacco products or vending devices and would normally hold a hearing to determine whether the retailer distributor was properly licensed. A hearing is not required if the owner of the property from which the items were seized and the person in whose possession the items were found, if other than the owner, sign a waiver and consent to forfeiture. Amendments additionally specify how distributors, including secondary distributors and manufacturers, must record and report tobacco product sales, purchases, and inventory, reflect statutory penalties for violations and grounds for revoking, canceling, or suspending licenses, allowing duly authorized IDOR employees to conduct arrests and seizures without a warrant if they witness a violation or discover contraband items in person, and allow persons affected by a licensing penalty to protest the action. Why does the Illinois Department of Revenue have arrest powers? Why do they get to do it? Why do they get to do seizures and arrests without a warrant?
That's wild.
That's wild.
That is super wild. Dude. Yeah, while you were reading that, I was like, wait a minute. Are we for real? I kept reading back. I'm like, what the fuck?
So they want Illinois Department of Revenue employees to conduct arrests and seizures without a warrant if they witness a violation or discover contraband items in person, and allow persons affected by a licensing penalty to protest the action. Secondary distributors. Okay, so yeah, that's literally crazy. But hey,
wow.
Shout out to the people who think the state is there to protect them. And
ugh. Yeah, that is gross.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Good thing it's only proposed and not.
Well,
happening. I mean, not that it's not gonna, but
yeah,
that is dumb. Take that out.
Well, if you disagree with it,
yeah, but is that all lumped together then, the 1,500 feet and all of that?
Yeah,
so that they can vote for the 1,500 feet thing to go, oh, you guys got this big win and nobody can beat by you.
Because it's administrative rules. We're just amending some administrative rules.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And start talking about rescheduling. I thought this would be fun. Illinois executives react to executive order to reschedule cannabis. So we all know Thursday, Trump signed an executive order directing the Department of Justice to continue rescheduling cannabis from Schedule 3 or from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. Right?
Yep.
And Dave and I actually got to watch the whole thing together after we went out to lunch with one of our friends, came back, and it was 1:30, and I had thought it was going to happen at 1:30. And unfortunately, we missed it by an hour, but it was cool to sit down and like watch it with you.
Oh yeah,
that was kind of wild. Rewatching Cole's live stream.
Yeah,
I love hearing Trump say he didn't have anybody anybody calling to oppose it. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And I pointed that out. And then like 30 seconds later, Cole had the same comment on his screen. And I was like, okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't just hallucinate that.
I'll still tell you my favorite part of that was the humanity that was shown in let's let people die with dignity, pretty much.
Yeah.
That was one of the best like parts of that whole thing where
Yeah.
opiate overdosing people to death seems like a kind of old school barbaric way. And like, yes, is that a suffering part of our times or whatever, of course, but like, is there a way to do it where you aren't suffering, you're comfortable, but you're cognitive, but you're
Right.
capable of holding conversations still and sharing in the interactions of the loved ones around you instead of grunting and groaning yourself to
Yeah.
Anyway, I just
die,
awesome.
Die with dignity,
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was great. But here are the Illinois cannabis operators. This is what they were saying after the news. Cresco Labs. Do you know how to say his last name?
Charlie Batchel.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Maybe.
Okay. Well, I figured like you've probably met some of these people, so I didn't know if you'd. Anyway,
it might be Bachtel.
This action starts bridging. I'm sorry. What did I? Yeah, it does say bridging. I was like brigading. This action starts bridging the gap between federal law and the will of the American people, with nearly 90% of Americans supporting some form of cannabis legalization and 74% already living in states with legal cannabis. Rescheduling unlocks opportunities for comprehensive medical research. It validates the work of state leaders who pioneered thoughtful, highly regulated cannabis programs. Important point there. Highly regulated cannabis programs for their constituents. It sends a strong message to our criminal justice system to stop imprisoning people for a plant that's been used as medicine for more than 5,000 years. Agreed. It will remove cannabis companies' unfair tax burden. All taxes are unfair, allowing operators to reinvest in new infrastructure and job growth in the communities that we serve. It also lays essential groundwork for progress on banking reform and access to U.S. capital markets, critical steps toward aligning federal policy with the scale and sophistication of this industry.
Well said.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Curaleaf founder, chairman, and CEO Boris Johnson said President Trump's action is the most impactful move taken around cannabis plants since its prohibition 55 years ago. We applaud the Trump administration for boldly acknowledging what science, patients, and the industries have known for years. Cannabis has a real medicinal value and never belonged in Schedule I in the first place. Rescheduling will expand research, ensure broad medical access, protect young people and patients from the illicit market, drive investment, and address outdated tax policies that punish legal operators. It's a win for public health, the economy, and common sense.
Yeah. That last statement, great. I mean, that was one of the more political answers that you'd come up with.
Well, I mean, it's Boris Johnson. Like, I would hope that
Boris Jordan.
Or I'm sorry, Boris Jordan. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's Boris Jordan, and I would hope that he knows how to be political. Considering
all CEOs should have some level of stay that way. And I think I would probably respond the same way if that's the thing. But I don't see Schedule 3 addressing protecting young people and patients from the illicit market. Like, that is, that's a bold statement, but that's a political statement.
Well, he was also on the Cole memo. I'm pretty sure. And Cole saw him Cole happened to catch him in a elevator.
Really?
Yeah. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really funny, and it was a good episode. Not Boris Johnson, the UK guy, but Boris Jordan, the Russian guy. That's what I was saying. Like, I hope he knows how to be political, considering where he's from.
Yeah.
Ascend Wellness Holdings CEO and Director Sam Brill said, move to reschedule cannabis from 1 to 3 marks a critical advancement for society, public safety, and access for patients across the United States. Recognizing the medicinal benefits of cannabis paves the way for expanded research, informed policymaking, and more consistent access to safe, regulated products for those who need them most. We commend the Trump administration for taking this long overdue common sense and data-driven step forward. We are optimistic that continued progress will support a transparent and regulated framework that protects individual liberties, enhances public health, fosters a well-regulated market, and drives domestic employment and economic growth. Let's see here. I think the Verano one was about the same. I think Air Wellness was about the same. Let's go down to...
Yeah.
Or unless you wanted to read one of those.
No, and that I was just going to say, well, that it's a big day. It's a cool movement. There's a lot that is coming of it, or especially in, alleviating the tax shit from these companies was one of the biggest things. They could not, like all the rest of every business in the entire world, doesn't matter what they do, they can claim their employment on their taxes. They can, like, all of the stuff that they operate and do, they can claim on their taxes. Cannabis companies were held back from doing
that's
so.
Pretty ridiculous too. Like, you should, like, I want, like, even the MSOs I want them all to be successful. I want cannabis companies.
No, go ahead and profit. That's what this whole thing's about, whatever. But, if in the statement that the guy said though earlier was that if it helps build the employment up and whatever, like if you redistribute that amount of taxes that you're saving as again, reinvestment into, they said infrastructure, which is perfectly fine, build out your footprint and do your whatever. But they did say employment in there too, like build up your teams, make your teams around this space, like, great again. Cause they've let it slip. The turnover rate is astronomical. But I've got a buddy who just got fired from the market. Somebody who's been in it for quite a while, has a good reputation. He just started to cost too much, And
I mean, and that's the problem that happens. You start to cost too much, and then they just, bring in the next person, and it's rough. It's rough. It's rough. You have to continue. You have to, like, do good enough, but not too good.
Yeah.
It's weird out there. Let's go. Let me scroll up here. I thought this was interesting. What to know about, from the Associated Press, U.S. News, what to know about Trump's order seeking to relax federal drug policies for marijuana. We don't have to read everything, but there's some interesting stuff. So, Trump's executive order on Thursday does not legalize marijuana under federal law, and it's not the final word. The proposed change still requires federal regulatory approval. I thought this was interesting because there's lots of people who have opinions on what this will or won't do, and some of it is just, a lot of it's just, clickbaity, like, say the worst thing so that everybody reads it kind of thing. And what I think is most important is to take a evidence-based, facts-based approach to what is likely going to happen based on historical context and what has actually been said. Agreed?
Well, you have to understand, only things in quotation marks, only things that have a signature on the bottom of them are the reality when it comes to these things, right? And not quotation marks because I went out and said some willy-nilly context or whatever. We're talking about from the goat's mouth, like from whoever it is that's making these rules or signing the bottom of the thing. The rest of us, it's interpretation.
Correct.
And it's nice to hear both sides of interpretation, because it allows for the rest of us who think openly to find that gray area, that level of comfort where you go, okay, extremists on one side and
Yeah.
extremists on the other side believe certain things. Yeah. So, yeah, just read between the lines. Be very technical
So
when you're reading. Yeah.
it says here, what's the federal policy on marijuana? As probably most of us know, possessing marijuana is a federal crime punishable by fines and prison time. Selling or cultivating marijuana is a more serious offense punishable by prison sentences of 5 years to life, depending on the quantity of the drug. That would not change. Rather, Trump is proposing to reclassify marijuana from a Schedule I drug alongside heroin and LSD to a less dangerous Schedule III substance, which includes things as ketamine and some anabolic steroids. The federal government defines a Schedule I drug as having no accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse. Schedule III drugs are defined as having moderate to low potential for physical and psychological dependence. The U.S. Justice Department has proposed to reclassify marijuana under President Joe Biden, eliciting nearly 43,000 formal public comments. The Drug Enforcement Administration was still in the review process when Trump succeeded Biden in January, triggering a re-examination of the policy. Now, go ahead.
I mean, we've been saying it for a while and whatever. These people all work together. They're all trying to push the same thing. Trump didn't win. Biden didn't lose. Nobody really cares. It's not a political thing. We're trying to get a law passed. And what does this law then benefit or do, right? Don't turn it into a left or a right thing, because still, it really doesn't benefit a lot of us.
Right. What did Trump say? Trump has said he has long taken a just say no approach to drugs. We know that. I've always told my children, don't take drugs, no drinking, no smoking. Trump said at a White House event, the rescheduling event on Thursday. But he added, at the same time, the facts compel the federal government to recognize that marijuana can be legitimate in terms of medical applications when carefully administered. I mean, I expect a government to take a small and measured approach, and I expect anybody not to, just open the gates and, just say, let it all happen, because who knows, So
yeah, well, and
I still say that's fair. Like I would expect any government to, try and be careful in what they say in terms.
Yes.
He also said the reclassification order will make it far easier to conduct marijuana-related medical research, allowing us to study benefits, potential dangers, and future treatments, Trump said.
Well, one thing that I'd like to point out in there is that he said it's going to make it far easier to conduct marijuana-related medical research. That means it's already been being done. The only way that it has been being done has been by like the prestigious or the select few research laboratories at whatever universities or wherever. There has been allowed research, and everybody I just don't discredit the research that has already been done. There's been plenty of it. Yes, will it make it far more easy to, instead of a 1,000 person thing, can we get a 10,000, 100,000, 1 million people to subscribe themselves to this research? It's going to be easier to do that. And ideally, bigger things come out, and we see that too.
So his executive order directs the Attorney General to take all necessary steps to complete the rulemaking process to reclassify marijuana as a Schedule III drug in the most expeditious manner allowed under federal law. So, like Dave said earlier, the reclassification mean for cannabis shops means that federal income tax deductions for business expenses aren't available to enterprises allowed in trafficking any Schedule I or Schedule II drug. Changing marijuana to a Schedule III drug could save hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes to businesses licensed to sell marijuana in states where it's legal, said Rachel Gillette, a Denver attorney at Holland & Hart, who leads the firm's cannabis industry practice. So it could allow marijuana businesses to claim tax deductions for expenses such as advertising, marketing, rent, or labor costs associated with sales. So that's,
There you go.
yeah.
That's huge. I mean, very cool.
Let's see here. Opponents of change say that's a cause for concern. Let me make sure. Reclassification, I said that. Though some marijuana advocates would prefer it to be fully legalized, I think the industry is willing to take whatever incremental steps that they can in order to put themselves in a better financial position, Gillette says. Opponents of the change say that's a cause for concern.
Bingo.
Right.
It is very. Again, I keep calling it the monopolization because it is. They are literally monopolizing.
I mean,
cannabis.
we talked about this a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago, when it was reported that BioTrack and Metric were joining forces, and there was a new company called, BioTrack GF or GT or something?
Yeah, I forget what it was.
Which was their government organization, and now Metric is going to be the de facto program for legal cannabis, and then BioTrack was going to take care of all the growing stuff, right? Or was it the commercial growing stuff?
I think something like that, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
BioTrack BT, that's what it was.
BT.
So I mean that is the like I said then, that's the governmentalization takeover of cannabis as we know it right there.
Yeah.
Because that's what they use for all of the tracking for regulated cannabis. So if the government has all the data, the government wants all that data for a reason, right?
Yep.
Logic would dictate. I mean, to me, it makes sense.
Yep.
So yeah, talks about the public viewing marijuana. Looks like 23% support in 85 to 64% this year, according to polling from Gallup. Interesting. How has marijuana use changed? I mean, I think we know most of this. So that's what's actually happened. There was also this from MJ Biz Daily about cannabis.
Yes.
More about the timeline. So let me see where I was at here. Trump's order instructs Attorney General Pam Bondi to reschedule marijuana in the most expeditious manner in accordance with federal law. But on the quickest realistic timeline, it could still be months before the promised benefits of research and tax relief appear, legal experts told MJ Biz Daily. I actually think it'll be closer to 2 to 3 years, at least. I wish I could give you something like an exact number, but there's just way too much discretion here, said Michael Cavedon, the director of the Project on Criminal Justice at the Cato Institute. And Shane Pennington, a prominent administrative law expert and partner at Blank Rome, said, I can't say exactly how long that will take because there's no deadline. So, no deadline for marijuana to be rescheduled. Pennington represented interested parties in the marijuana rescheduling hearings before a U.S. Drug Administration law judge that was paused on the eve of Trump's inauguration. Those hearings were part of the marijuana rescheduling process begun under Biden in October 2022. Trump's process built on that by recognizing the August 2023 Health and Human Services finding that cannabis had currently accepted medical use in the U.S. However, Trump went further than Biden and directed agencies to make the change rather than simply review federal policy. Nonetheless, the issue is they're going to have a bureaucratic gauntlet to run, Pennington said. In theory, Bondi could cancel the hearings, rendering appeal of the hearings brought moot, and publish a final rule in the Federal Register reclassifying cannabis a Schedule III drug in 5 days. 5 days, not business days, Pennington said. Lawsuits challenging marijuana rescheduling are guaranteed, but once Bondi is the headline. Once Bondi does that, there's another hurdle to clear: the courts. Supports have long expected lawsuits challenging the final rule. Smart approaches to marijuana, a prominent legalization foe that challenged the Biden administration process, has already retained former Attorney General Bill Barr to represent it in court, according to Kevin Sabet, the organization's president and CEO. In quotation marks, as we speak, we are preparing to file suit against the administration to block this rule if it should ever become final, Sabet said in a video posted to X. And Barr, who led the Justice Department in Trump's first term, has assured me we have an excellent case, Sabet added. Smart approaches to marijuana argument is not known, but observers predict it is likely to challenge rescheduling on procedural grounds and allege that federal administration law wasn't obeyed. That's a process that dragged on all of last year after the DEA fielded 43,000 comments from the public on the question, some of which requested the still paused hearings. If Bondi goes far too quickly, all it might take is one unfriendly judge in an obscure district to slap a stay on rescheduling and delay 280E relief and everything indefinitely, Caveman said.
Yeah, dude, I've wondered that too. Is like, it's not done.
Right.
What's the chances it never gets done?
Well, we have this right here to read, and then I have a quick reminder and point to make, and then I think that's a great question to talk about. Here's the worst case scenario, it says. If a federal judge decides the process was bungled and marijuana rescheduling ends up mired in the lawsuits that legalization opponents have vowed to bring, it could be another 2 or 3 years before Schedule 3 is a reality. And that's why, as fast as the industry may want rescheduling to happen, it may be preferable if it's done carefully and correctly. You do want to move fast, and frankly, after this many decades, it should, Caveman said. This shouldn't be a hard thing, but you do not want to have the DOJ make a hasty call and have this held up in court because some judge decided you didn't do your homework. And here's the other thing that I want to share. This is, the address is congress.gov/CRS external underscore products /LSB/HTML/LB or LSB11105.html. This is on the congressional website. The legal consequences of rescheduling marijuana, updated May 1st, 2024. Okay. This is from the DEA. On October 30th, 2024, news outlets reported that the DEA planned to move marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 under the CSA. The planned change follows an August 2023 recommendation from the Department of Health and Human Services that the DEA reschedule marijuana from Schedule 1 to 3. Any change to the status of marijuana via the DEA rulemaking process would not take effect immediately. According to the reports, the proposal will be reviewed by the White House Office of Management and Budget and then be subject to public comment. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff, but here, this is what I want to read, because it talks about the legal consequences, what will happen. It talks about the current legal status of cannabis under the CSA. Okay. Considerations for Congress. Either Congress or the executive branch has the authority to change the status of marijuana under the CSA. Correct. Congress can literally do it. Have been able to do it since forever. Congress can change the status of a controlled substance through legislation, while the CSA empowers the DEA to make scheduling decisions through the notice and commitment rulemaking process. When considering whether to schedule or reschedule a controlled substance, DEA is bound by HHS's recommendations on scientific and medical matters. However, the DEA has stated that it has, quotes, final authority to schedule, reschedule, or deschedule a drug under the Controlled Substances Act, quote. A proposal from the 118th Congress would provide a congressional review of DEA rescheduling related to marijuana. If Congress wishes to change the legal status of marijuana, it has broad authority to do so before or after DEA makes any final scheduling decision. Several proposals from the 118th Congress would remove marijuana from control under the CSA or move the substance to a less restrictive schedule. If Congress moved marijuana to Schedule 3 by legislation, it could simultaneously consider whether to change some of the legal consequences of Schedule 3 status described above. Let me take a drink real quick. Congress could also legislate to move marijuana to another CSA schedule, which would subject it to controls more or less stringent than those that apply to Schedule 3 controlled substances. So basically, regardless, the DEA is saying that it is not going to be exempt from federal drug controls. DEA has final rulemaking and authority over the drug. Okay.
Yeah, until Congress pulls out their
until
Johnson.
Congress actually changes something, Schedule 3 will use existing standards. There's no cannabis specific framework, and there's no special treatment. Right? Like that's
the only like it
because
just
we know what the DEA regulation is going to look like because they have told us what it is.
Yeah.
Legal consequences if marijuana moves to Schedule 3. They literally tell us right here what will happen. And it will be under the DEA. So all of the, it's going to look like this. All you have to do is look at what the DEA has said.
Yeah. Well,
so use facts. We can look and see what they're going to do. Period. That's what I think about rescheduling. I don't think it's great. I think it's better, but no,
but it's just, but this is the thing is like these departments just trying to flex. And what is your flex? And at some point, does that mean that the DEA comes in again, fucking outright just slays humans in the fields because they're on federal land or they're, they've got illegal employment? Like there's just so many weird aspects of this where it's like that side of it, F that.
Right.
But I also think too, like my whole thing is they're trying to make this seem like some big deal, like they're going to get some power back to themselves. The DEA, it's still Schedule 1 right now, and they don't do much about it to begin with. So, and don't get me wrong, when I say don't do much, they are still imprisoning the F out of people, and they're putting them in prison for very long periods of time. But yeah, I don't.
Here we go. There you go. Moving medical legal consequences. Moving marijuana. Aaron, slow down. Moving marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 without other legal changes would not bring the state legal medical or recreational marijuana industry into compliance with federal controlled substances laws.
Bingo.
With respect to medical marijuana, a key difference between placement in Schedule 1 and Schedule 3 is that substances in Schedule 3 have an accepted medical use and may lawfully be dispensed by prescription, while substances in Schedule 1 cannot. However, prescription drugs must be approved by the Food and Drug Administration. Although FDA has approved some drugs derived from or related to cannabis, marijuana itself is not an FDA-approved drug. Moreover, if one or more marijuana products obtained FDA approval, manufacturers and distributors would need to register with the DEA and comply with regulatory requirements that apply to Schedule 3 substances in order to handle those products. Users of medical marijuana would need to obtain valid prescriptions for those substances from medical providers subject to federal legal requirements that differ from existing state regulatory requirements for medical marijuana.
So it's just the federal, how they're going to handle, sell, distribute, whatever. Where again, state-driven programs are not going to go through the same thing. They're not going to be subjected to the same thing. And if the DEA believes that it is going to start going one by one, state by state, trying to go in and shut down all the dispensaries and all the cultivations and all the whatever, I think you're out of your mind. Like these
They did it
frameworks
to
and
vaping. They did it to vaping.
yeah, but that's a
They
totally
ruled that they
different.
were medical devices, and they were it was smoking cessation, and they ruled that they were all medical devices, and they all had to be
Yeah, but what
approved by
is
the FDA. Each thing was $1 million
that's
to.
that's perfectly fine. I respect that
Sorry.
also. No, 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 I'm with you. But what is the acceptance rate of the two things
Well,
side by side?
they
And I'm not
basically put
like
them out of business. That's the point. They put them out
I'm
of
not
business.
look, I'm not telling you no or yes or
Yeah,
up or down or whatever. I don't know. Still, there are plenty of vaping companies out there,
sure.
right? Still, there are plenty of people making little vape things. Did it get more expensive to play? Did it get more expensive
Uh-huh.
to consume and whatever? Yeah, when all that regulation happens and whatever, but the acceptance rate of or the amount of people who were vaping and affected by this thing, because like the average everyday Joe, right? Let's talk like a Biz does them little vape things.
Well,
He
see,
just
and
goes to the fucking
now,
place and gets
mhm.
little shitty $20 whatever, and no matter what, he's been doing that before and after. Before, he had some proprietary little pod thing, and because
Mhm.
now that's under scrutiny or whatever, now he just goes and buys the other one. Like, for the average consumer, they still have some access to this stuff.
Sure.
Um, and, like did it change the framework on the bigger players and shit? And did it what I think it did was mess with more like the small vape shops that you could go inside of
Mhm.
and build your coils with them and do
Yeah,
all the
or the
that
juice shops, and
or
now
juice
everything's in
shops.
the, like,
Right,
yeah, or
right.
even the juice companies or distributors or
But those things
manufacturers,
still
stuff like that.
exist and they're still
A
going.
lot of them went out of business.
I'm with you, dude. I
Now
understand when
it's all
there's a
like a all-in-one, like, you get the little pod things,
right.
and
Well,
those are all from
and
China.
here's it too. But like the same way with the hemp industry, right? Like the hemp industry is going through almost the same
Yeah,
transition where it's like, oh my God, now we all can't sell THCA flower or Delta 9 flower. But
right.
the ones who prevail and the ones who do this well, and I'm not, again, in a business sense, not in a
Sure.
passion or anything,
Yeah,
will be the next people that are selling cannabis or selling according to this, marijuana products to the federal government. They will be the ones
hopefully.
who have federal contracts and their shit is getting pushed through every, you know, hospital and fucking
Mhm.
doctor's office in the world because the federal government approved of it. And now you're allowed to through insurances and shit. Like those people who adapt to this well and make the changes in it and really pay attention to the laws and kind of hit that edge of it, like I said, they get a federal contract, dude.
Yeah,
And does it mean more or less? Do you believe in the faith of the state or the government or anything? Like all of that is up to open debate and
interpretation. Yeah.
interpretation and whatever. But like, I think that again, same correlation. Does it suck? Is it ass for all the people who have put in the time and the efforts to
Mhm.
build the fucking industries and
Absolutely.
whatever? Oh, I'm fully behind them. But I know a couple of smaller players in the shop up there has been in there in Oswego
Yep,
forever, dude.
yep.
And I've those they're good kids. They come out and they disc golf. It's a husband and wife duo. They got a couple of buddies who have worked there forever. They keep it low key. They keep it small. It's nothing over the top, but they've been able to exist for a while, and they've adapted with the times. Okay, got to get rid of this stuff.
Yep.
Got to if I can't sell that, let me bring in the cannabis products and try
Mhm.
to sell vape fun puffcos and
Yeah,
rolling papers and whatever I can legally do to keep my business afloat.
yeah.
And so like I don't know, dude. It pisses me off to no end that like I think the logical thing is descheduling.
Yeah,
And when
logical is descheduling, but I mean, it's government too. So,
it's not logic that is
right,
being used here. It's not like
right.
full
Yeah,
understanding of. A lot of them aren't willing to go and understand it. It is literally Trump to the fucking T, where he goes, I've always said no, I don't really care. But my buddy over here, he had cancer and he did well. He's happy. He told me that he's good. And I keep hearing people call me. I don't really give a fuck. I don't want to be called. And I'm
right.
okay with my boy doing it,
Yep,
is all that's come out of
yep.
this.
He can go golfing with me still. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
happy about it.
Bingo,
You
bingo.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
but I
which is true. Like, how many, like, shit.
is DT
Mhm.
himself ever gonna come on here and listen to the benefits of THC versus CBD? Is he ever gonna listen to me talk about a conditional cannabis corner where how many different conditions actually respond to very similar,
Right.
treatment paths and whatever, where there is some, even if it's not direct scientific, whatever, there is some freaky correlation that we should all be paying attention to.
I did see some reports today that came out today that uh he had decided it during like a 40-minute meeting or something, and that some people tried to float out Schedule 2, and he was like, absolutely not.
Yeah, good.
That's like ridiculous. Schedule 2 is ridiculous. That's like half-ass Schedule 1 is what
Yeah,
he said, or something like that.
yeah,
But
good.
yeah, I think that was reported by the Scott's Miracle Grow guy.
Really?
Yeah, well, I mean, Scott's Miracle Grow bought a Hawthorne, which is a huge growing supply. So there are some people who are involved in this that do have money into home growing. So I guess we will see like equipment, like home growing equipment.
Yeah.
So like, you know, Hawthorne is like huge. But anyway, oh
Yeah.
yeah. Dave, you ready for Dave's Conditional Cannabis Corner?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
You got some symptoms from your condition to help you feel better. That is my mission. At the Conditional Cannabis Corner, you can get that information, and it won't even cost you a quarter.
Hello, my friends. Merry Christmas. I was going to say happy holidays too. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. I hope y'all are doing well. Let's talk about it. I was going to say happy new year. That's where my brain started, but we're not all the way to the new year thing yet. Anyway, but that's what I'm going to talk about today. How we can get ready and how you can be more ready for um getting prepared for your New Year's resolution and what you're going to do. A lot of people make New Year's resolutions, and it's not a bad thing if you can help your mind get tricked into treating yourself better. However, we got to do it. It's a good way. But there's no tricks when it comes to, using some cannabinoids to really help yourself. One, maybe suppress the appetite. If you're saying, I'm going to lose weight next year, perhaps we start looking into some THCV. It sounds like all you need is a little appetite suppression. And you know what's really good at that? THCV. It also, in conjunction, appetite suppression, we do a really good job if we add a little bit of CBD in there. It seems as though those things are antagonists, agonist. What's the one where it stops? Hold on, I got some stuff written down here too, but I think it's an agonist. Anyway, it's the one where it tells your system, yo, let's not do that. And we all know that THC is an appetite stimulant. That means that it makes you hungry, gives you the munchies. Well, how do we combat that? CBD and THCV. And I beg you all, if you're going to try to lose some weight this year, consider those two. The other thing is, all of us say, you know what? This year, I'm going to start working out better. I'm going to go to the gym every day. Well, have you ever been to the gym once? Man, I did once. But anyway, you go in there and sometimes, especially it's the first time back, maybe you go too hard, maybe you don't know what you're doing very well, and then it hurts, it's painful. And then, you're like, oh, well, I'm not going to go tomorrow because I'm recovering from the day before. All the while, maybe we should go every day. Maybe that's why they change muscle groups that they work on so that you can constantly be in the gym, getting that physical activity going on. But anyway, you know how to fix that? You know how to make yourself feel better? A little bit of CBD. CBD helps reduce inflammation and spasticity, things caused by the excessive weightlifting that goes on inside of gyms. Also, or it really does help with all muscle aches and pains. I've had a lot of people who were like runners in the past. They use some like muscle freezes and things that had CBD in it. And then all of a sudden they were like, I could just run every single day of my whole life, I feel like. I mean, obviously, we all need to take some breaks and take some relaxes, give ourselves some times to reheal without always, going so hard. But if you're going to make a New Year's resolution, I just hope you stick to it. But yeah, that's really it, guys. I didn't want to overwhelm you with too much stuff. I just wanted to say I love you and you're worth it. And no matter what, if you think that you should change something in your life, yeah, give yourself some honest effort. You're worth it. That's all. I love you. And you should love you too. All right, that's it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet. No, I thought it was great. I was behind the scenes giggling because I was listening to you. It was fun. Hell
You
yes.
know?
But yeah, it's hey, it is that's it. Merry Christmas. We hope this is coming out on Christmas. So right? Wednesday's Christmas or is Thursday Christmas? No, Wednesday's New Year's Eve. I was right. Man, I freaked myself out there. I was like, oh, Wednesday's Christmas. Sometimes you ever do that? You just like your head talks you into something that's just completely wrong.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I should really know better, but I guess I don't. So what's you gonna do?
When Hulkamania runs
wild on you. Yeah, you gotta you gotta take your vitamins and say your prayers, brother. Don't you know?
Yeah. Essential cannabinoids.
Yeah, essential cannabinoids.
Take your cannabinoids.
Yeah. I hope everybody's Christmas is filled with like family and love and joy and good weed and Merry Christmas, Dave.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you also. And yeah, I just follow what Aaron's saying there.
Yeah.
I'm such a family guy. I hope that y'all have family going on out there. If you don't have any of the blood family or whatever, know that you have your Canna family here, and we all love you. And if you need anything, you want to talk to anybody over the holidays, don't be shy. Reach out. We're all still here.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't have anybody on Christmas, reach out to me or Dave. We'll talk to you. You always got somebody. So
yeah, that's what I said. I might be doing a smoke session on the Peace, Love, and Hope on Christmas too.
If I'm not driving back from my mom's, I'll be around for that too. It'd be fun.
Awesome.
Oh yeah. Well, we love you all.
Merry Christmas, and
I will.
Send you. You're the best.
We love you all. Smoke weed every day. Peace.
Later, friends.
Yo, ding dong, we're done here. Time to go.